If you're thinking about moving to Dallas, Oregon, but you're not sure which area is right for you, you're in the right spot, because in today's video, we are exploring 3 different neighborhoods here in Dallas, Oregon, each offering different benefits depending on your lifestyle and budget. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Living in Salem, Oregon YouTube channel. I'm your host, Ryan Welty. If you've been enjoying the real estate content, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. But more importantly, if you are considering making a move to Salem or Dallas, Oregon area in the next 7 days, 70 days, a year, feel free to give me a call, text, or email. Whatever works best for you, I would love to help you make a smooth move to the area. Well, jumping right into today's video, we made the short drive out to Dallas, about 15 to 20 minutes from Salem, depending on where you're driving to. Dallas is a very popular alternative to Salem. A lot of people are moving here that don't quite like the vibes of Salem or just want to be in a little smaller town feel. It is a great alternative and one that a lot of people are making right now. In my opinion, when discussing great neighborhoods in Dallas, you should at least consider some of the new construction neighborhoods that are going in right now. There's the Fowler Homes Highland Glens development, as well as the Comfort Homes Forest Ridge development. I'll have a link right here or at the end of the video, so if you are thinking of new development, you might want to consider those 2 neighborhoods. However, for this video, we are sticking with the resale market, looking at neighborhoods that are a little bit older. And starting off today, we are in the Fairhaven neighborhood, or at least that's what I've always called it. You could also call it Meadow Haven or Cynthian Oaks. It's a pretty large area. We are north of the Safeway or East Ellendale and west of Kings Valley Highway. So it's a very large neighborhood on the map. And that's one of the reasons why I love it. It's a very diverse neighborhood in terms of what you can find in this area. So in this neighborhood, you can find anything built from the 1950s all the way up to more modern, like 2015 is most of the builds. There are a few houses, like 1 or 2, that were built more recently, like within the last 5 years, like 2020 and on. Those aren't super common because most of the area has been developed, but every once in a while, someone will subdivide or partition and you'll get a newer construction home. You might be able to tell that we are kind of on a hillside. Not the whole neighborhood is on a hillside, but definitely parts of it. So you can find homes with views, which is a great perk, but that's definitely on a case-by-case basis. So if that's something you're looking for, definitely consider some of the areas like on the northern side of the Fairhaven neighborhood. Home size also varies pretty greatly in the Fairhaven neighborhood. You can find anything from a starter home, like a 2-bed, 1 or 2 bath. Those aren't super common, but they do pop up every once in a while. 3-bedroom, 2 baths are very common, but you can get all the way up to like 5 bedrooms and multiple baths to go along with it. Obviously, before this neighborhood was developed, it had a lot larger lot sizes, and some of those homes are still existing. You can find them especially on the, let's say, western edge, on the peripherals of the neighborhood. The center has mainly been developed into smaller lots. So a lot of the lots are 0.18 to 0.2 acres, which gives you a little bit more room than like the brand new construction going on now in 2024. But again, you can find those lot sizes that are closer to 3/4 of an acre, but those usually have older homes on them. There's also a pretty big price range in the Fairhavens neighborhood, going from around $360,000 to $600,000. The average house sells for around $500,000, so obviously most of the homes are on the upper end of that price range. And when homes that are well done on those bigger lots, they can tend to be closer to the $800,000 mark. But again, those don't pop up very often. There's also a wide variety of architectural styles in the neighborhood. On the southern side, closer to Ellendale, you will see a lot of ranch style homes, single levels, and those were built closer to like 70s, 80s, 90s. On the northern side, the more recently developed portion of the development, you have more modern style homes. These are kind of traditional modern, very clean, not like those super modern houses, but there are a few of those in here as well. There's even a very small cul-de-sac that has a few like Victorian style homes, which I just find funny. Like, why did these people all build the same style homes in the same area? But it's kind of a fun quirk of the neighborhood. The Fairhaven neighborhood is also close to a lot of amenities, obviously bordering the Safeway and grocery outlet and that kind of strip mall area there. Just a few minute drive from Walmart and the other shopping areas here in Dallas, including the historic downtown. Unfortunately, there aren't any parks that really go through the Fairhaven neighborhood, though the walkways are your standard city walkways and nice to walk on, but there's not like a greenway or a trail going through the neighborhood. There's like, I think it's called Rotary Park on the east side of the neighborhood, but then it does border Dallas City Park, which is one of the nicest, biggest city parks here in Dallas. That's on the south side. So depending on where in the Fairhaven neighborhood you live, you could be a few minutes walk from a park, or it could be a few minute drive from a park. So just depends on where you live because it is such a big area. Well, if living in the Fairhaven Cynthian Oaks neighborhood sounds like a great option to you, you're in luck because there's a lot of real estate activity, mainly because it is a pretty large neighborhood. On average, there's about 20 to 25 homes that sell a year. Right now there's 4 active listings, but as we get closer to the spring months, I expect there'll be closer to 6 to 8 active listings at any time. So if this is a neighborhood you're interested in, definitely keep it on the list as there's usually an option open. Well, the second neighborhood is Bridlewood Equestrian Estates. Now, this is one of the more confusing names I have encountered for a neighborhood, and that is because it's Equestrian Estates, but sorry, I'm too tall for these trees apparently. Beautiful dogwood trees, one of the coolest trees here in the springtime here in Oregon after the cherry blossoms bloom, of course. But anyways, a very confusing name for an HOA because this neighborhood has nothing to do with horses, at least it doesn't anymore. It might have been a equestrian facility before it was developed into the current neighborhood, but as of now, it is just a residential neighborhood. They are larger lots, like 1/4 of an acre to 1/3 of an acre is pretty standard around here. There's really nothing smaller than that. But they're not horse properties. So you don't have acres and acres to run horses for sure around here. So not exactly sure why it's called Equestrian Estates, but most people just call it Bridlewood Estates and leave out the equestrian, though that is on the official name. Now, Bridlewood is on the southwestern side of Dallas, kind of on its lonesome at the edge of the city limits, out on Highway 223 or Kings Valley Highway. So it is a kind of an inconvenient neighborhood if you commute to like the Salem, Portland area or use I-5 a lot. Because it is about a 30-minute commute to downtown Salem, so maybe not the best neighborhood if you commute that direction a lot, but if you mainly stay on the west side of the Willamette River, maybe going to Corvallis or the Monmouth area, and Monmouth, McMinnville area, it might be a more convenient neighborhood for you. Bridlewood Estates was developed starting in the 70s and mostly complete by the early 2000s. There were a few houses that were developed more recently, but none of those have been for sale on the real estate market yet. One of the downfalls of the Bridlewood Estates is there's no starter homes. There's no like 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 bath homes. Mostly you have 3 or 4 bedroom houses with 2 or 3 bathrooms. There are a few exceptions, usually on the higher end of that scale though. The price range you can expect in this neighborhood is going to be $430,000 to around $650,000, though some of the houses that have really spectacular views and have been updated well can be even higher than that, close to the $800,000, $900,000 range, though they don't pop up all that often. Like I mentioned, most of the houses are on larger lots, 1/4 acre to 1/3 of the acre. And most of the estate is going to be the single family residential, but there is actually the only condo association in Dallas is in Bridlewood. It's right along the main street as you drive in, and there's also a apartment complex that you can rent out of in the same neighborhood. So kind of interesting that it has both of those features because they're not super common for Dallas. Now, of course, this is a homeowners association. It is fairly affordable, especially for what you get. It is only $225 per year. And most of that money is going to landscaping of the common areas like the entry sign. But another great feature of Bridlewood is that there is a lot of common area for use by the residents. Like in the backyards of most of the houses, there are common areas that are just grass meadows with nice landscaping and trees that you can walk through. I think there are like 20 acres of common area with about 11 acres of those being accessible to everyone in the community. There are no like public city parks available anywhere near Bridlewood, mainly because again it's kind of on the outskirts of town and it's its own private neighborhood, so there's no city parks, but the green spaces that Bridlewood itself offers is usually sufficient for most people. Well, if you don't mind the HOA fee and the Bridlewood neighborhood sounds like a great place to live, you're in luck because there is a little bit of turnover year to year in this area. Last year there were actually 10 homes that sold, and there are a few that are active on the market right now, but that of course changes season to season. You might not be able to find a home that has a fantastic view of Mount Jefferson or Mount Hood right away, but if you're patient, you can definitely find an option here in Bridlewood. We are at the last location of the day, and I am glad to be back on flat ground. It probably didn't come across on camera super well, but the Bridlewood Estates neighborhood is on quite a hill, and getting back to my car after filming that last section was a bit of a workout, especially on this beautiful warm spring day. Well, our last spot is what I have referred to in the past as the Aquatic Center neighborhood, mainly because it is right next to the Aquatic Center, which is, I don't know if you can tell, right there behind me. Lots of amenities there, but most people call this either the Gleann Estates or even Barberry neighborhood. That's Barberry Road right here that we are walking alongside right now. While the outlines of this neighborhood are probably in dispute just because it doesn't have clear boundaries anywhere, it kind of fades into new construction on one side and into older housing on the other. Now this is the newest and most expensive neighborhood we are talking about today. Development started in the 90s and went on through the early 2000s, kind of fizzled out during the housing crash, 2007, 2008, and then kind of picked back up in 2010. A lot of these homes were built by Boylan Homes. There were a few other builders as well. There's a variety of housing options going from single floor to two-story. The price range for this neighborhood in the last few years has been $400,000 to $815,000, with most of the homes being on the upper end of that spectrum. And in this neighborhood, you're pretty much going to find houses that have 2 to 3 bedrooms and 2 to 3.5 bathrooms. Lot sizes are bigger than modern new developments. In the Glenn's development, you're getting anywhere from 0.17 to 1/4 of an acre, and some of the quarter lots and premium lots can have 1/3 of an acre. So definitely a little generous, a little roomier feel than some of the more modern new development neighborhoods. Now, people love this neighborhood for all the amenities, the main one being the Dallas Aquatic Center, which you already knew of, which is a great place to go swimming, whether if you're just doing recreational or going for exercise, just right down the road, easy to get to. And right next to the Aquatic Center is Roger Jordan Park, which has lots of amenities like the soccer fields, baseball fields, playground equipment. There's also a pickleball court, which I have a friend that is very into pickleball, and they say the Dallas pickleball community is a good one to be a part of. Also nearby is the Creek Trail, which is a great walking trail that goes along Riffrael Creek here in Dallas. So if you want a little bit of a longer walk, kind of a urban nature walk feel to it, that's a great option as well. Another benefit of this neighborhood is that it is on the east side of Dallas, so it's very convenient for commuting if you go eastward to Salem a lot, or I-5, or even at the Independence, Monmouth area. Easy commute in and out. You don't have to spend a lot of time going through central Dallas to get to where you're going. One of the reasons I list this as a popular neighborhood is because it actually has a very low turnover rate for real estate inventory. Last year in 2024, only 4 houses sold. Right now is a little bit of an uptick. There's actually 4 houses active on the market, so you might get a few more houses selling in this neighborhood here in 2025. But traditionally, people move here and tend to stay for quite a while. So there's not a lot of houses, not a lot of options available. So in other words, this is a very popular neighborhood, and if you want to move here, it might take a little bit of patience to find the one that works for you. Well, that's it for today's tour of popular neighborhoods here in Dallas. We'll probably be back looking at a few others. There's a few historic neighborhoods where you can get really large lots, and we will try to cover that sometime in the future. But for now, hope to see you around town.